Well, you guys, this has been a crazy journey, huh? 7 weeks. Who's in the driver's seat? And we're going to land the plane tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this. And I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys, and hopefully you're gaining something that's going to help your family and your marriage. Sometimes fighting over these things gets a little crazy, but if you can both get on the same page, it's a wonderful deal. Tonight we're going to talk about the issue of discipline and setting limits. And we didn't clap yet, did we, Peter? So do we have to do that again?
Yeah, why don't you clap and start what you just did over.
All over again?
The whole thing, just this tonight.
Okay, all right. So, 1, 2, 3. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything's in sync and the world is set right. And tonight we're going to talk about the issue of discipline. And the reason that we put the discipline issue at the very end is if we had given this to you at first, you wouldn't have understand the greater context in which to apply it, right? There's so many parents that come to a parenting session like this and go, you know, I just want my kids to behave, so you tell me how to make them behave. That's all I want to know. Well, if you don't know how they're wired, and if you don't know how you're wired, and how you bug them, and how maybe you don't communicate or connect with them that well, and the reality that you need to change the tools that you work with, what worked at 9 years old doesn't work at 15 years old, et cetera, et cetera. That is all groundwork for what we're going to do tonight. So we kind of saved this to the very end, not because it's not good stuff, but just because we want to give you the whole context that involves parenting and then talk about this final issue. So my question tonight is, and Iris, you want to come up and just write these on the board? There's this whole principle that we understand that as when children are really young, you just have to pretty much, the parent's control is everything. But as they get older, the child should have more and more control of their life. Now, some of us as parents didn't have much control, and maybe our lines were kind of like this, and then we get to adolescence and we go, oh my goodness, we need to clamp down because they're going to get out of control. And that creates craziness because just at the time they're ready to spread their wings, we're clamping down because maybe we've been too loose on the front end. So hopefully you guys have been pretty tight up until now, but honestly at this point it's spreading out. So let's just brainstorm. What are some of the things? Okay, imagine your child is 18, 19 years old. They're heading off to college on the other side of the United States. They're going to be a fully responsible, functioning adult. And you're not going to be there to hold them accountable for anything, to teach them how to do anything. What are the things that you think they need to do and to know and to own?
We have a daughter in college on the East Coast, and she just turned 19.
And aren't you glad you trained her to do some things before she went?
Yes.
Just let's start the list with you. Yeah, go ahead.
She needs to know when she's tired.
Okay.
And to be able to put herself to bed.
Okay.
And not be told. I don't know how well that's
Okay,
gone.
creating her own bedtime.
And when to get up.
Yeah.
Waking up on her own, let's have that.
She has to manage her own transportation on campus.
Okay. She have a car, or she
No, she uses
commute
school.
shuttles or something?
It's shuttles on
Okay.
campus. She has to do her own laundry.
Laundry?
She has to feed herself and
Okay.
make sure that she has food when restaurants or the diner or whatever is closed.
Okay.
She has to manage her own relationships, friendships, the
Yes.
people she meets.
Yes.
She has to handle all of her work, school load.
Okay.
She did just apply for a job, too.
Okay.
She's active.
So she needs to be able to earn some income and manage money that she
Manage
earns,
money.
right? Okay, great start. How about what else would you guys add to this? Yes.
You need to know how to work hard and what a good work ethic is.
Good work ethic. Yeah, responsible, intrinsically motivated, okay? What else?
Be honest, and her actually makes the test taking, all that, be honest.
To be honest? Is that?
Yeah, be honest,
Okay.
no cheating.
No cheating, okay. Just honesty, integrity, good. Good qualities. What else?
Ours had to find your own church.
Okay. So responsible for own spiritual life. Okay. You would, oh,
Managing your like finances, your checkbook.
managing your own finances, checkbook, debit card, whatever it is that they carry. Yeah. Yes.
Become a person of character
Character.
on their own.
Okay.
Without a parent sitting there.
To tell them what to do and looking over their shoulder and kind of groaning when they make mistakes. Yeah, okay, yeah, on their own. On their own. Is that a good start? How are we doing so far at training them in that way? Right? Thank you, Iris. I appreciate that. I don't know about you, but my wife and I kind of made a list similar to this, and we thought, okay, when our kids are pre-adolescent, we need to be picking out certain things and to train our children along the way, rather than wait till their senior year in high school and go, oh my gosh, you're leaving for college in 6 months? Here, dump the truck on you. So in 6th grade, our thing was for all of our kids, in 6th grade, you're responsible for your own clothes. Now, with the responsibility also comes the privilege, right? So we will give you whatever we budgeted for clothes for you every month. You need to go shopping, get your own clothes, but then you need to wash them, you need to iron them, you need to take care of them, and whatever. I mean, and it's just absolutely amazing to watch an 11 or 12-year-old figure this out. But we thought, okay, this isn't an issue that we're going to die over. So one of our daughters, I mean, she'd get her allowance, she'd run to Nordstrom's, and she'd buy something rather small, a top or whatever. And then her money was gone. And we said, hey, you can buy more clothes if you want, but it's going to be money that you earn, right? So it was amazing. After about 3 months of that, she goes, you know what? I could get the same style, whatever, at Marshall's. And pretty soon she was coming home with bags of stuff, going, Dad, look at the deals I found. How did she learn that? She learned that because we gave her full responsibility and let her figure it out. And, you know, she'd ask questions and we'd talk, and she figured it out, and she learned to shop well. We had another daughter who was doing okay with the shopping part. She wasn't doing too well with the cleaning part. So, you know, all the dirty clothes were going in the hamper, and none of them were getting washed. And we would watch her go to the hamper in the morning and kind of dig through to find the least wrinkled, least dirty thing. And we would just bite our lip as she would exit the front door. Well, guess what? Peer pressure at school changed all of that. Like, Julie, what are you thinking? What happened to your clothes? Did you sleep in that last? I mean, you know, just friends who were getting on her case, and Mom and Dad didn't have to do a thing. And pretty soon, in a very disciplined way, she was doing her wash every week. And it's amazing. So we did that with phones. We did that with clothes. We did that with dating. We did that with driving a car. We did that with all kinds of stuff. We coached them in their friendships. And so that by the time they left home, they had, you know, the checkbook mastered. They had already been working. They had jobs. And they were equipped and ready. One of our kids actually left home a week after she turned 18 and went to Hawaii, because that was kind of her dream, because she wanted to live there and work there. She's a very strong-willed kid, and we knew, okay, if we butt heads with her. It's going to crush her and crush us. And so we just tried to guide her. So when she left, she talked a friend into going with her. She had enough money saved to buy a used car. She had enough money saved to rent a condo. And she had enough saved to eat for 2 weeks before she got her job. She landed at the airport. The guy from the car company came, picked her up, said, okay, here's the 4 cars I have in your price range. And she bought one of them. They loaded their stuff in it. They took off to their condo that they had prearranged. Within 2 weeks, she's working at the Ritz-Carlton serving breakfast to the Vice President of the United States at 18. Now, she is very driven and very self-disciplined, and we knew she could do that, but it took training along the way to make that happen. After a semester of that, being driven like she was, all my friends back home were getting ahead of me in college. I better come back and start college. So, she did on her own, but she had to do that. And I was so grateful that we'd spent the time training. Discipline, the word discipline is actually a word not for punishment, but for training. And it's kind of like discipleship. And in Hebrews 12, Scripture says, my son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor faint when you're reproved by him. For those whom the Lord loves, he disciplines, and he scourges every son who he receives. In other words, hey, if you're a son, you're going to be disciplined. You're going to be trained. But if you're without discipline, which all have become partakers, then you're illegitimate children and not sons. In other words, if somebody isn't disciplining you, you're not that valuable to them. Furthermore, we had earthly fathers to discipline us, and we respected them. Shall we not much rather be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they, our earthly fathers, disciplined us for a short time as seemed best to them. And isn't that what we're kind of doing? It's kind of for a short time and as best as we can. But God disciplines us for our good, that we may share in His holiness. All discipline, this is the understatement of the New Testament, I think. All discipline for the moment seems not to be joyful, but sorrowful. Oh, can you relate to that? I mean, as a kid, discipline was not that fun for me. And even as a parent, disciplining when they were doing things wrong was not fun. It's not fun for them. It's not fun for you. But it's essential in order to train our children in the life that they should live. So, here's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to jump into issues of discipline. I'm going to talk about, first of all, the difference between discipline and punishment. And there's a huge difference. Okay? So we've got the two charts, or we've got the two columns up here. And the purpose of punishment is to inflict penalty for an offense. In other words, you're looking back. You did something wrong, and you are going to pay for it. In discipline, you're training them for correction and for maturity. You're looking to the future rather than looking back. Punishment is often retaliation and getting even by parents. And discipline is say, hey, you know what, I want you to do better next time. The focus of punishment is past misdeeds. You screwed up, you're going to pay. The focus of discipline is for future correct deeds. We want you to do better. We know you can do better. God, I'm sorry it didn't work out this time, and this is what we're going to have to do to kind of correct that. But really, we want you to do better. The parent's attitude in punishment is hostility, anger, and frustration. How many of you have ever been angry and frustrated at something your children have done? Pop your hands up. We all have. Come on. If you didn't put your hand up, you're lying. Okay.
Denying.
You're in denial. Oh, I remember, and this is when our kids were a little bit younger, but we were down in San Diego. My mother, bless her heart, it was Christmas time. We'd been there for a few days. We're coming back. Before we left, my mother gave my kids chocolate and Coke. Okay, you know, you're laughing. You know exactly what happened. We're driving the van up the 5 freeway. There's all this bickering going on in the back seat. I mean, I'm wanting to get home. I don't want to stop and deal with it. And, you know, finally we calm them down. And, you know, if you say that one more time, blah, blah, blah. And so we finally get home. The kids are getting out of the car. And one kid took one last verbal shot at the other one. And the whole thing exploded again. And I just grabbed her by the arm. And when I did, I grabbed her with such force, her head hit the side of the van. I mean, she had gotten out of the car and I grabbed her. Dad, that's child abuse. You know, and I go, okay, this is going to be great. The newspaper tomorrow. Pastor arrested for child abuse. And then kids are well trained. But it is so frustrating sometimes, right? Just want to get them to shut up or stop it or whatever. And if that is our motivation, we're in trouble. Okay? Because a parent's attitude has to be for love and concern for their child. That they learn, that they grow, that they improve, that they learn some self-discipline and that kind of thing. You guys, you put a star beside the parent's attitude. The parent's attitude is the key as to whether you are going to be punishing or disciplining. And there have been times when I have been so angry. I was home, and my wife was gone, and I'm in the garage working on my workbench, and I hear this ruckus in the house, and I thought, they'll work it out. Well, pretty soon, my daughter and son were in the garage. Dad, she's this, and he's that, and boom. And my daughter, this very strong-willed girl, just hauls off and kicks my son right in the groin and drops him on the garage floor, writhing in pain. Okay, this is my strong-willed daughter. As a dad, I just want to beat the living daylights out of her. But I realize, okay, if I do something right now, it's going to be out of anger and hostility. It's not going to be because I want her to do better the next time. And I just had to tell her, I said, Becky, you need to go in your room. I need to calm down before we talk about this anymore. Helping my son up off the ground and trying to take care of him. But you guys, if we approach discipline with anger, it's not discipline anymore. It's punishment. And the resulting emotion in the child is fear, guilt, and resentment. And but in discipline, there's some security and there's some hope. And there's like, okay, this is going to get better. And Dad and Mom really care about me. They want me to live a life that's more under control. That's, you know, I'm going to get along with people better. So that is a huge difference. Now, here's a newspaper article, Orange County Register. Father says punishments were discipline, not abuse. This is a sheriff's sergeant. His wife is a principal of an elementary school. So these people should know, right? So they were in criminal court, facing a maximum of 3 years in prison if convicted of misdemeanor child endangerment and felony conspiracy to commit child endangerment. Between January this year and May, 3 years later, the couple, separately or together, allegedly smeared dog feces inside their son's school backpack, threatened to post a nude photo of him at school, forced him to sleep with the dog on the back porch. At times, they failed to give their son money for school lunch. They forced him to eat leftovers while the rest of the family shared a fresh meal. They woke their son up at 4 a.m. and locked him outside the house. They thought they were disciplining him. What were they doing? You think that was out of love to help him do a better job? No. They were ticked and angry, and here's a school principal and a sheriff's sergeant that are doing this to their kid. But it is so easy to slip into that mentality, like if you mess up, you're going to pay. And he says, hey, we didn't make the kids sleep outside with the dog. We told them, if you don't do your homework, if you don't do your math homework, you can't sleep in the house. I go, what? What does math homework and sleeping in the house have to do with each other? I mean, it kind of gets crazy. So later on tonight, we're going to talk about natural consequences. They have to be related to each other. Okay? So let's go to the next level. Disciplining on all three levels. And this is important. Most of us think of discipline at the third level, but you know what? If we've not done levels 1 and 2, we're not helping ourselves. And I think I filled a lot of these in on your chart, right? Is this printed up for you? Okay, so the first issue is instruction is the very basic level. To impart knowledge or information, to furnish with direction by modeling, teaching, commanding, giving orders, and so forth. And so, for example, you know, one of the issues that we talked about was, you know, what kind of music they listen to. So, how can we instruct our kids on what is appropriate and what is inappropriate? And how do we talk about that? And, you know, do we pull up the lyrics of their favorite band and say, we're going to sit down and we're going to look through this and let's talk about this. Let's learn to be discerning about what you're doing. One of the things we did with all our kids, we says, hey, with the privilege of driving the car comes some maintenance responsibilities. And so, and this is particularly helpful. We have one daughter that went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Okay, so she's taking a family-owned vehicle many, many miles away, and she needs to know how to check the oil, check the transmission fluid, check the water, check the tire pressure before, right after each of our kids got a driver's license. We taught them to change a tire. So I don't want her to be stuck someplace all by herself and have a flat and be at the mercy of whoever might drop by. So, I mean, I'm just kind of a practical, blue-collar, down-to-earth guy, and I'm going, honey, this car isn't your top-of-the-line car. It's going to burn a little oil and this and that. But if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. But I want you to know how to take care of it. So just things like that are instructional. And so we instruct our kids by modeling for them. We do it in front of them. If we're trying to teach our kids to have a clean living space and they look at a junk pile in our bedrooms, what is that modeling for them? I mean, our kids have huge hypocrite antennas going on, right? If you're telling them to do one thing and you're doing another thing. So modeling. You know, a friend of mine is trying to teach his kids to not swear, and then stuff will happen on the freeway and he's swearing right in front of them. And they're going, Dad, you know, I mean, what are we modeling for our kids? The way that we treat our neighbors, the way we respond to difficult situations and so forth. So it's about imparting knowledge. It's about informal instruction. You know, when our kids were little, we had to, instead of just saying, clean up your room, we said, okay, here's how you clean up your room. Okay, you make your bed, you pile everything on your bed. Things that go in the closet, you hang up. Dirty clothes, you put away. Toys, you put away. And pretty soon, you got a clean floor, you got a made-up bed, and everything's put away. But there's instruction that goes with that, and you do that with them, and formal and informal instruction. The second level of training is, training. It's to help them form habits and develop proficiency in areas where they have been instructed. And we just did a little thing on, you know, being disciplined or self-disciplined about getting homework done before some of you came in. This is one of them where you're saying, okay, now I taught you what to do. Now we're going to work on it together and we're going to make this happen. And at that level, we do it with them. You know, if we're training them to be discerning about their music, we sit and we go through the lyrics with them. And I kind of got into this thing with my kids. I go, okay, here's the deal, kids. We're going someplace in the car. You can listen. You can choose the radio station. But if I hear anything vile or profane or, you know, whatever, the radio is going off. So you guys be the editors here. So we're cruising along, a particular song comes on, they're looking at each other, and pretty soon the volume goes way down until that part of the song is over, then they turn it back up. And they're just learning to be discerning and to block out what's not good for them and that kind of thing. And so it's kind of doing it with them, it's practicing, it's teaching them, it's talking about it. The determining part there is determining what is their capability. You know, is an 11-year-old capable of changing a tire? No. I mean, you don't start there. Is an 11-year-old capable of managing themselves on a date? I don't think so. You know, and this may sound kind of weird to you, but just to give you an example, this is what we did with our kids. We said, hey, number one, one of my daughters went to junior high camp. I mean, graduated from 6th grade. She goes to junior high camp, comes home, and this guy wants to take her out on a date. I'm freaking out. Dad's going, what just happened, you know, to my innocent little 6th grade daughter? Now she's in this pack of wolves in junior high. And I don't know, maybe my sons were some of the wolves when they were in junior high too. So, you know, I just said, okay, guys, here's the deal. No dating until you're a freshman in high school. When you're a freshman in high school, you can group date with kids from the church. That's cool. And because I'm just trusting that in a group situation where they're accountable to each other, they all know each other, all the parents know each other, that maybe the Holy Spirit will be active in one of them. In case they start going astray, one of them will speak up and, yeah, I don't think we should be doing this, right? Okay, but that's a group situation. Then sophomore, okay, you can group date with, hopefully still with kids from church, but I mean other kids too, that's fine, but we just need to know them and who they are, that kind of thing. Still, group dating was a little safer situation than single dating, right? Because I don't think a 14-year-old, and I'm just going to use a girl as an example, a freshman girl walking on a high school campus deeply wants to be liked, right? You talk to a freshman girl on a high school campus and she's going, gosh, I hope everybody likes me. And what do guys say? I hope everybody respects me. I want them to look up to me. I want to be respected. It kind of goes, you know, in Scripture where it talks about husbands, love your wives, because that's her greatest emotional need, is to be liked and be cared for. And guys, wives are supposed to respect the husbands. Why? Because a guy's greatest need is to be respected, to be thought highly, to be looked up to. So a freshman girl wanting desperately to be liked will probably compromise some things, some of her morals, some of her character, because of that desperate need to be liked. Where as they get older and more mature, they've developed a little more moral muscle and a little more social muscle, and they may not do that. So that's why we just said, okay, freshmen, group dating with Christians, sophomore, group dating. Juniors, you can double date now. There's still a double date. There's still other people there. There's still accountability. Senior year, you can single date. And that's just kind of the progression. So they knew going in, that was our guideline. And you tell your friends that your dad is a stick in the mud, that he's from the last century, he doesn't know what's going on, but you put it all on me. Because it's kind of embarrassing sometimes when they can't live up to their peers' level of behavior and say, listen, you just blame me. Just tell them I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing, and that takes the pressure off you, saying, hey, I can't single date on a scene or something like that. So that's for free if that helps you. And then finally, if we have instructed and if we have trained, and the rewarding thing down here, yeah, let me just talk about that. Rewards. Okay, let's make it real simple. When you're potty training a 2-year-old, I don't know what you guys did, but we put a little thing of M&Ms on the back of the toilet, and every time they made it to the toilet successfully and came away with dry pants, they got an M&M. Wow, how cool is that? I get a reward. And so we're reinforcing behavior. Rewards reinforce behavior. So if they're doing something well, rewards don't have to be an M&M. They could be words of approval, words of affirmation, saying at the dinner table, man, Bill, I'm really proud of you, the way that you handled that situation with the neighbor kid today. I don't know if I could have done that, but you kept your cool and so forth. Or, you know, just different things like that where you're affirming them, you're rewarding them. I think rewards get flipped backwards when the kids go, okay, Dad, what are you going to give me if I do so-and-so? Now, that's bribing. That's manipulation. So don't ever go there. But feel free to reward your kids with approval, with affirmation. I remember in my home growing up, basically we had 2 acres of land, we had cows, we had chickens, we had a huge garden, we had big lawns. I mean, we worked hard every Saturday just to maintain our place. And I mean, there were times we sat down to dinner and everything on our table came off our property. It was just an amazing way to grow up, but that meant we worked hard. And I remember one day in particular, we worked really hard. At the end of the day, unexpectedly, my dad gave me some extra money. He said, hey man, I've been watching you all day, and God, made me feel so good. Now, I didn't negotiate with him at the beginning of the day. You go, okay, if I work really hard, are you going to pay me something? Because we were poor, we didn't have much money. But you know, the fact that he would reward positive behavior, good behavior is a cool thing. And I think your kids would really appreciate a pat on the back, an affirmation, go, hey, you've done a great job. Let's go get a yogurt together. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but it needs to be affirming. And that really helps in the training process. The last